The truth of the matter is, scaling sucks, but you get some kind of celebrity status. Suddenly, people will pay a tremendous amount of money to be around you or with you. You don't necessarily have to provide an outcome or a product. Your status alone has value. I'm not saying everyone should do what I'm doing. I'm just saying that at a certain point, you can take total control over who you are and how you live and actually get paid for who you are, not what you do, not what you know. So you've got to boil down your message in such a way that people genuinely feel trust in you that you can deliver those things. And in 10 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how it works and how you can use it too. And if you have a business, then you better stick around because this thing's freaking amazing.
Hi, Mike. Welcome to the summit. Mike helped over 57,000 entrepreneurs in over 121 countries to become successful. He consulted for people like Tony Robbins, and he helped me in the beginning stage of this summit to put all of this together, to get all these amazing people here in one place. So thank you very much, Mike, for this. And today we will talk about getting paid for who you are instead of what you do. And we're really looking forward to this interview.
Hey, thanks, Martin. Nice to be here, and I'm happy to help.
Can you tell us a little bit about the backstory of how you developed this concept? Because it's pretty strange to a lot of people who probably hear this for the first time, that typically we get paid for what we do, but not for who we are. So what does it mean?
Well, I think the way to look at it is we spend the better share of our lives going to school and becoming institutionalized to be good at something. We get paid for doing. And if you have a job, you are paid for doing. You're getting paid what the market will bear. And if you stay stuck in that cycle, you're probably not going to earn a lot in your life, nor are you going to build a brand. In other words, a trusted brand that makes you unique. The next tier on that is getting paid for what you know. So doctors, for example, information specialists, that's where your value becomes proportional to your ability to provide knowledge and information. A lot of professionals get stuck in that mode, or white collar people, for example. You might be, again, a doctor, a CPA, some sort of an information worker. But again, there's no real differentiation. But if you break beyond that, where you build a level of celebrity for yourself, where you're positioned as an authority, you generate trust. Let's say you become a writer or a performer or whatever it is, but you get some kind of celebrity status. Suddenly, people will pay a tremendous amount of money to be around you or with you. You don't necessarily have to provide an outcome or a product. Your status alone has value. And bridging that gap can be a little tricky at times. So one of the shortcuts, for example, will be writing a book, becoming a best-selling author, speaking on stage. That has representative power. Having a podcast or a radio show or whatever. There's all kinds of vehicles to getting there. But I think the grand illusion that a lot of folks for a long time have lived under is, oh, if I just make it to here, then I'll get or I'll be blank. And in the business world, someone will say, if I can just get to the point where I can bring my company public and I can scale it so high. But after working with thousands of people over the course of my career and working with a lot of high-level billionaires and business owners, the truth of the matter is scaling sucks. You reach a certain point and your life blows. It's like going public. I haven't met one professional who have said privately, okay, they might say something publicly, but privately they say, the moment I went public, my life turned to hell. My wife hates me. My kids don't know who I am. I'm never at home. I have a health risk, or they die early or something like that happens. And instead, what I've learned in my own career is I reached a certain pinnacle and I decided to shut everything down, turn everything off. I sold everything. I liquidated. And now I've got a really simple life. I take on about a dozen one-on-one clients a year. I invest. And I focus on my family, on deep, meaningful relationships, and not adding complexity. I own every part of my life. And I'm not saying everyone should do what I'm doing. I'm just saying that at a certain point, you can take total control over who you are and how you live and actually get paid for who you are, not what you do, not what you know. So I gave you a long-winded explanation, but the bottom line is this. Whatever you truly want, how you want to feel, what you want out of life, there are ways, simple ways to elevate yourself to be able to attract what it is specifically you want and bring in the right kinds of people. And surprisingly, people who get stuck in this mode of thinking they've got to do a whole bunch of stuff in order to get $500, so like, no, how you show up and how you are being will attract right fit people. And learning how to deliver a meaningful experience over a whole bunch of stuff can actually allow you to receive $250,000 or $500,000 for who you are, as crazy as that sounds. So it's a way of breaking the mold of traditional marketing and traditional business and creating simplicity over complexity. So I'll let you ask more questions from here. Hopefully that makes some sense. But I've guided quite a few people through this process over the past couple of years since I decided to do it for myself. And I got to tell you, my life is considerably better, considerably simpler. I feel healthier and a lot happier because of it. So does my son, so does my wife.
That's awesome. And like a lot of people who are watching this are just starting out. Maybe they have a side hustle, or maybe they just got exposed to online marketing systems like Kartra or ClickFunnels and all these things. So what would you recommend to them? For example, like if they're still having a job like I had, working as an engineer, but they want to make the transition from working time for money or like to getting paid for who they are.
All right. So first of all, you have to go through the process. You have to go through the doing phase and then the knowing phase to get to the being phase. This is just as much a personal evolution as a skills evolution. In other words, there is no shortcut to this, and you've got to have something unique to share or offer. And it does require grinding and going through the side hustle, developing who you are, and understanding something called your unique ability. That's what my friend Dan Sullivan, who I do a podcast with, it's called Capability Amplifier. He's the strategic coach founder. And your unique ability is something that you do better than anyone. And usually there's 1, 2, or 3 of them. And your focus is to find a way to just do those 3 things and nothing else, essentially. Okay. So it takes an enormous amount of focus. And what I can tell you, what I have learned is, first of all, this is something you have to dive into. You have to start practicing and performing what I consider theater of mind. Okay. And I'll get back to that, but I'm going to surround this with, for example, let's say you could give me an example, or it's something like, I'll use you as an example. Why not? Okay. So Martin, you have developed a unique product. Okay. And your unique product helps people stop wasting time and find focus. That's the name of your program. Okay. And what is it that gave you the right to even talk about finding focus? And what was the pain that you were trying to avoid yourself that you saw other people like you trying to avoid? Your answer would be?
Yeah, I started out getting exposed to all these systems out there. Noticed myself, I would waste a lot of time on Facebook and YouTube just consuming stuff instead of creating. And I noticed like I had different stages, like one where I was in my highest self and knowing exactly what I would need to do, like throughout the day. But once I got to the work and putting in like talking and typing, the creating things, I could not do that, but I would go back to having this addiction to consuming. So I created this software to create conditions for myself that would force me to create, or at least make me more aware that I should create instead of consuming.
Great. And so I'm going to interpret a lot of this right now and make this short for our listener and our viewer so it makes some sense. But here you are, you had this pain, which you were a consumer instead of a creator. And I have an oh, by the way, which is this is a phrase, it's a saying we have in our family. So I have a 17-year-old boy, and he'd prefer to play video games all day if left to his own devices. And I've always said, we're creators in this family, we're not consumers. I want you to spend, for every hour you spend consuming, I want you to spend half that time creating something. Now, that doesn't mean it always happens, but the focus is we're creators. And if you're spending most of your time consuming, at some level you need to in order to build some experience and some knowledge. But if you're just consuming a bunch of entertainment, unless you're planning on being in the entertainment industry, you're wasting your life, in my opinion. And in your particular instance, again, it came down to finding focus, right? So in a way, what I would suggest, and it's part of what you're doing right now, is I would spend all of my time building trust around the notion that you could own a category. I call it the category of one, which is to be the focus expert, okay? The singular focus expert in the world. I'm going to give you a but, however, because that might have a certain amount of value, but you got to answer the question, which is, if you were the focus expert, why do people want focus in the first place? What's the end result? What's the benefit or outcome that most people want as a result of finding focus? What would your answer be to me?
First, they want to grow a successful business, to make money with this, and then fulfill their life dreams. Maybe it's spending time with their family. Maybe it's traveling the world. Maybe it's supporting a charity or a good cause, something like this.
It really always comes down to impact, income, freedom, or lifestyle. Okay. So there's an old phrase. I don't remember who said it originally, but I joke about it. I say it's get paid, get laid, live forever. Those are the three promises that every product ultimately makes, which is make more money, attract a member of the opposite sex, or increase your lifespan or quality of life, which, again, it's impact, income, get paid, get laid, live forever. That's how I remember it because it's easy. So you've got to boil down your message in such a way that people genuinely feel trust in you that you can deliver those things. Okay. So very frequently we sell people what they want. We give them what they need, and you can sell them on the basis of finding focus so that you can get more impact, more income, a higher quality of life, or freedom. And all products, all services somehow in some way deliver those things. And it comes down to this. It's finding a way to deliver a message, a feeling to people so they genuinely can feel like they can trust you to deliver that. So the stuff that's in between, the secret to getting paid for who you are versus what you do or what you know, is about building trust and confidence by elevating your brand in a way that they immediately they raise their hand and say, I want you. One of the ways we do that is by getting degrees, for example, or being a celebrity or influencer, or having a list of celebrities or influencers we've done something to and they endorse us. So the way you get to being is by, first of all, creating a great product and gathering enormous social proof that what you do or what you know works, and applying that to your brand. Okay? This is why creating a personal brand, in my opinion, is better than money, because you could lose all your money today, and with a brand, you can go out tomorrow, create a new offer, or get associated with someone and say, I've got something remarkable. Look at my past. You can trust me. And boom, you've got instant money again. Money's not the issue. Wealth is brand, and they are interchangeable. And we live in a world right now where, for the most part, people don't trust much of anything. Our institutions are extinct. Money, banking, medical system, our media, our leadership, transportation. It's like, who do you trust and what do you trust? And this is, we've gone through a cycle of influencers, but we know now that there's a lot of fake influencers. Instagram and social media have manufactured more fake influencers. And now there's a constant race to the bottom. And when I say race to the bottom, everyone's got a funnel. Everyone's using the same tools. Everyone's advertising and marketing, using the same stuff, telling the same story. How do you get through that? The answer is don't do what everyone else is doing. And this takes creativity. Not everyone's going to be able to pull it together. It takes practice. But you're not going to get there by consuming a whole bunch of stuff and playing me too in the endless race to the bottom. It's one of the reasons why I don't ever even look at social media anymore. I pay someone to do it. I pay someone to put that stuff up because I found it to be a soul-sucking waste of time. So whatever everyone else is doing, run away from that as fast as you can. Again, this might sound overwhelming and complex. It may require that you listen to it and watch it over a couple of times. But consuming the same stuff everyone else is, doing what everyone else is doing, using the same tools, and playing the same game, to me, is the road to hell. And I avoid the road to hell, and anyone can choose to do that. So it's make something that matters, build a personal brand, and create trust. The only currency of value is trust.
Are there any specific action steps you would recommend to somebody who's just starting to build this brand?
Well, the first and most important one is start with one. I talk to people sometimes who are just starting out and they're like, I want to help 1 million people. And it's like, you haven't even helped one yet. You probably even helped you. So how the hell can you help 1 million people with your dope smoking pothead dream? It's like, that ain't going to do anything for anyone. It's like, get real for a second. So prove it with one person and then get a referral. Generate a referral and do it with 2 and get in the habit of telling transformational stories. The secret to doing this is by gathering social proof through transformational stories, which is a testimonial. And your objective and your goal is to be gathering proof all the time. Transformational stories of someone who's used your product or your service or worked with you and actually gotten a product. And when you do that with one, then you get good at marketing or telling that story to someone like that person to get a couple more and a couple more. But all of us, everyone who's ever been successful before, didn't begin with 1 million. We started with one story. And if I go back in time to what I did online years ago, we did product launches at that time because they flat out worked. And we did affiliate marketing because at the time it flat out worked. But I told one amazing story of transformation about about someone who used my product and made some money. And in this case, made $5,000 in about 2 or 3 hours. And this is before the FTC marched in and we could tell financial stories. Okay. And I'm sharing that because every step of the way, we'd get regulated and we couldn't do what we used to do. We had to innovate and find another way to move forward. So in this day and age, my advice is, again, I'm about to contradict myself. It'll sound like I'm being a hypocrite or contradicting myself. Using Facebook groups, for example, or LinkedIn groups, or building a platform inside of Instagram might be really effective if that's where your ideal customer is sitting. I know for me, where I go find my ideal clients and customers now is by joining really high-level expensive groups. They cost a minimum of $25,000 to belong to because the people I want to have conversations with generally have $2 million to $100 million companies who are willing to invest in what I have to offer and accelerate themselves very, very quickly. But I'm working with people who already have established businesses.
I
Getting
think
back
this
to,
is also something that people will see in the bonus training, but there you talk about a concept called deep and narrow instead of wide and something like this. So maybe you can explain this, because I think this is also what I noticed for a lot of people like who built, for example, like agencies really fast. They focused on one high level client and then got more high level clients. And this is how they made like like you're going from literally 0 to 6 figures in like a couple of months.
yep. So let me give you a real life example that I hope will answer the question. So I'm mentoring someone right now, and I actually am investing in this company. The name of the company is clickedin.io. Met the founder, and he became a LinkedIn expert at generating leads. His name's Frank. And for years, what he'd do is his promise to a business owner is, I will generate 60 leads a month for you. And he charged between $10,000 and $20,000 for that. So obviously it had to be for an organization that 60 leads represented enough traction to sell a high level product. That'd probably be $5,000 to $50,000 or $100,000 or more. And the way he did this is he just got on LinkedIn and worked in that person's account, and he used some techniques to search for a right fit client, connect with them, and start a online or a relationship that would result in a scheduled appointment and a conversation, a sales conversation. And his promise was, if I don't give you 60 good leads, I'm going to work until I do give you 60 good leads. Right? So he built a reputation doing this, and he built an agency, and he started to grow, and he started to scale, and he started realizing that he had a process, he had a system that was his. And next thing he did is he hired a couple of programmers who started writing a system that would do and automate some of this for him. And when I met him, I was totally blown away and impressed for one simple reason, and that is he had built a business that is on a run rate to earn about $1 million, and he's never paid for marketing or advertising once. Okay, he's used his tool to sell the tool. And I looked at this and I'm like, I want this tool for one thing. I want a tool that'll go out and make appointments for me with the right fit client. And I want to know what your secret sauce is, how in the hell you figured out how to do all this stuff, because I know a lot of people, I paid people to do LinkedIn marketing for me and it didn't work. Okay. And so what I did is I did a video about how this product works with him. And I open up the interview showing his calendar, saying, look at this guy's calendar. It's filled. And the way it's being filled is because he's using the tool that I'm going to show you right now. And in 10 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how it works and how you can use it too. And if you have a business where if you filled up your calendar with appointments with qualified clients and you know you can grow your business because of that, then you better stick around because this thing's freaking amazing. Okay. It was so amazing that I invested in the company and this guy. All right. That was basically my hook. So if we're going to deconstruct this right now, here's what matters most. And getting back to your whole idea of the agency. Okay. So I wanted to kind of create this story is if you learn a skill that has value and you can find a way to replicate it and prove it works, that has huge value. Okay. Now, if that comes in the form of doing software or doing a system that you can teach and then you can sell the system, which would also be known as certification, for example, that has value. Anyone can figure this stuff out. I'm going to give you another example. Okay. Is this useful so far? Should we continue going on the road?
Like today I created the group for this whole summit and I called it high leverage business systems, because that's what I noticed with every successful speaker on the summit. They have some form of a system, and like if they're in the information product industry, they sell this access to the system that they develop. Like they found a gap in the market somewhere, developed the system, got results for themselves typically, and then they leverage this by selling this system to other people. So I think this it's amazing. And I think I also like watched the bonus training that we will make available for the people. And there you say like fears go away with systems. So maybe you can tell us more about the systems and how to create the systems.
Sure. Well, I'll give you another one. I can give you two. So this was, I ended up developing a system back when I had cancer, which I wrote my first book. And when I got out of the hospital, I had a bunch of people said, "Hey, Mike, how did you manage to write a book while you had cancer in 30 days and publish it and make it a bestseller?" And I turned that into a course. Now, full disclosure, I've sold this product in this business almost a year ago now, but one of my books is called Publish and Profit. Okay. It's a 5-step system on how to write books and become a best-selling author and then elevate your value using books. But I wrote this book and it was actually a previous version. So this is version 3 already. And there was another book before that. So this went through 4 iterations, but that process got turned into a product, which I sold. And then I created a certification program because we ended up teaching people how to start a book marketing business and a book publishing business of your own, where you do this as a service for other people. But this became what was, I'd say, around a $10 million franchise as a result of producing it, because not only did, the book sent people to a webinar, people watched the webinar, they bought a $2,000 information product, then they could come to a $5,000 live event. And then from there, they could invest in a $25,000 mastermind with me and some other smart people. Another one that I did was a book called Money Phone. Okay. This one was a process that I developed and I still use to this day on how I connect and introduce myself to people and send them videos and then schedule calls and essentially talk to them about becoming an advisory client with me. Okay. But it's adaptable for any business and any product.
I had a look at that and it's amazing how simple this is. You get rid of business cards and instead build a real connection with people so they actually remember you. So maybe you can give us a short recap of how the system works.
Okay. Really, well, the basic idea is whenever I meet someone, I want to tell you what the end goal is before I go through the process. Okay. What I use that book for is to bring people into another product I had, which was called Consultant Profit. It's how to build your own coaching, consulting, and advising business. Again, $2,000 product, $5,000 certification program. And from there, we'd funnel people into our mastermind. Now, this book produced over $1 million in business in less than 100 days. My goal every time and the other thing is this book started out as a speech. I came up with my system. I went to a live event and I performed how to do this in 10 minutes in front of an audience. And they were like, "Oh my God, this is so simple." And some of them said I used it and I closed a $75,000 deal that I had been trying to get for months. And because of that one video, the guy said yes. All right. So I had living proof that this thing worked. And from there, I took my 10-minute speech, I expanded it into about an hour-long speech. I recorded it and then transcribed it. And inside this book, it's really only a part of the book is the how-to step-by-step. The rest of the book is essentially a catalog for my other products and services I had. Full disclosure, it's a sales letter, all right? But the point of this is I developed a system that led to a product and a service that I sold. So the answer to your question, how does it work? It's pretty simple. Whenever I meet someone face to face, they'll say, "Hey, do you have a business card?" I'll say, "I don't carry business cards anymore. They're old fashioned. And here's the truth. You're going to take my card. I'm going to take yours. And then I'm going to put it in my pocket. And we're both going to forget about each other." Instead, I do something better than that. I pull out my mobile phone and I hold it up and I take a picture of them and me and I say, "What's your phone number?" And I text them the picture right away. And I have a little shortcut. It's an abbreviation on the iPhone. I don't know what Android has. and that shortcut sends them my name and my email address. Okay, boom. I say, now you've got my name and my email address and my photo, and I'll follow up with you and see if there's something we should do together. Right? Boom. And then while I'm at wherever that event is, let's say I connect with 10 people, I make a quick video while I'm there. And again, it's like a selfie video, and I say, hey, this is Mike Koenigs. You and I met at the blah, blah, blah event. And I know we talked about a variety of things, but what I wanted to do is say hi, make sure we reconnect again. And by the way, if you'd like to schedule a brief call where we can talk about how I can help you do blah, 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 or whatever, I'm sending you a quick link. Why don't you just schedule a quick call with me? So out of 10 people, now I don't send that video to people who aren't qualified potential clients, but I might get 3 conversations, and 1, 2, or 3 of them raise their hands and say, I want to work with you. And by the way, you're the only one who did something like that. So my goal is always stand out, be unique, be different, be personal, be deep, be authentic, and be real. All right? And I don't play patty cake. I don't waste anyone's time. I don't waste my time. If we're going to do business, we're going to do business. If we aren't, so long. And if you're not a decision maker, it's the first and last time we're going to have a conversation. I don't work with anyone who plays patty cake either. I don't play office. I don't piss away my time or my energy. All right. And I make that really clear up front. It's sort of like, if you want to make money and get some stuff done and change who you are, I'm your guy. If you want to consume a whole bunch of BS online and fuddle around, go for it. Waste your life, waste your time. Doesn't make any difference to me. I only work with players. Right?
I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make. Like, even watching a video like this, if you're not really looking up what Mike just told you with the phone, like, this is super simple. If you're starting an agency or want to run any kind of online business, it's super simple to put in place and create your own system around this. Create a checklist or something and practice it a few times, and you will see, like, if you're just practicing this one tip, this will pay for the whole mission for everything. Like, even if it's for free, even better. But so really great advice here. So what one more question, like, what is the biggest mistake that you see somebody who's serious to start a business makes?
Here's what it is. It's simple. They hide behind systems. They hide behind information. They hide behind being busy. They hide. They hide behind a guru. They think there's one more thing they got to know. No, what you got to do is schedule conversations with people, connect with them, find out what problems they have, and solve them. And don't waste your time on businesses with no money and people can't make decisions. All right? It's as simple as that. I'm working with some individuals, and I have in the past. All right? So I think I already mentioned my minimum engagement is $75,000 to $250,000. One of the reasons I got out of the information business, and you can look at this and go, think about how much money you can make selling information. Do you know how many products I got to sell for $500 or $1,000 to make $250,000 or $500,000 or $1 million? Do you know how many systems I have to have in place? How many people I have to employ? How much I have to invest in marketing and advertising dollars? Screw that. How about if it's just a couple people and me, and I get to work with people I love and have less going on with few moving parts? No one around to drive me batshit crazy, all right? Now, that's bold, and it took me a long time. It took me 30 years to figure this out. But I'd rather earn and keep several $1 million a year than have a $15 or $25 million business that's a bunch of rats on wheels fighting God knows what every step of the way. So the whole thing is beware of what you think you want. For me, scaling brought me zero joy, all right? Growth brought me zero joy. Lots of moving parts brought me zero joy. And fighting to the bottom brought me zero joy. What I'm trying to tell you is, while you're young, go for it. Do a whole bunch of stuff, build up some experience, and find out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. But don't buy into the illusions that you're just a funnel away, okay? That's total bullshit, all right? You're not a funnel away. What you are is a brand and proof and trust away. And you can't manufacture that and pretend your way through it. You can't steal your way through it by stealing someone else's intellectual property. Okay? That's bad karma. It's going to come up and it's going to haunt your ass someday. So focus on building something real by helping real people who have money to invest in a solution that you have proven and honed and earned it. Okay? And there ain't no shortcuts to this whole thing. There's some great events, but invest in high-level people. And I'll give you one last thing, and this is like very profound for me. I spent my time, imagine this is a parallel line to who you are and what you are right now, what you know. And what I spent a lot of my time doing is selling down. In other words, selling to people who really needed help with whatever it was. And it was like I had to do whatever I had to do to provide proof and a good sales letter and a great technique and a great funnel and everything to sell a $500 or a $2,000 information product or whatever it was. Could have been an event. And then I started spending time with people at my level. All right. Other business leaders, other business owners, and we'd trade information and we'd spend time with each other. And eventually, when you're the smartest guy in the room, it doesn't serve you. You always want to be the dumbest guy in the room in a high-level environment, because while you're doing that, otherwise you end up coaching everyone else. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's good service. It's good karma. But if you want to elevate yourself, you got to know when the room you're in no longer serves you. But this is a big distinction. What if you were selling up? What if you showed up and you invested your time and your influence and your experience in selling to people and providing services to people who elevate you into businesses that elevate you and you them? That's a whole different game that you're at, a whole different mindset. Some of that has to do with self-worthiness and being able to realize that you have something to offer, that you're a badass and you are an amazing human being. And this requires a different theater of mind, a different kind of practice. And the more time you spend hiding behind, God, I got to get this one more tool, and God, I got to watch this one video because then I'm going to be there, and then and practicing FOMO or fear of missing out, that is a grand illusion. It gets in the way of actually providing true value and getting shit done. So my greatest advice is stop effing around, do something freaking unique. Don't be a lemming racing to the ocean to drop off the side like every other lemming out there, and build social capital and proof by providing real value and creating transformational stories. And that's what people are going to react and respond to. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care what industry you're in. And that's how you get paid for being, instead of being a doer or a knower. And we live in a transformational moment in human history right now where this is the kind of mindset that is required, because AI is coming along faster than you can imagine. Machine learning is coming along faster than you can imagine. Soon you won't be able to tell what's real and what isn't real online, because deep fake technology and voco technology and AI is going to write copy and persuasive copy better than any copywriter can, and faster than them, and split test it. Okay, where the hell are you going to be then, hiding behind all these BS tools and fake? All right, I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm telling you that's the reality. So what people are going to respond to is a true leader who's standing up with an authentic voice, who's connecting for real, pressing the flesh. And I'd rather be the one out there providing $1 million offer than a $10 offer and a downsell and an upsell on God knows what the latest BS gimmick is. That ain't going to get you anywhere. You're just another lemming in a pool of drowning lemmings. Don't be one of those. That's my advice.